What up? Welcome to my Shay Cormac EDH Commander deck, what I'm calling Orzhov Removal, because once we go through it, you'll know why. Who is Shay Cormac? He is from Assassin's Creed, which means half the table's not going to like him because everybody hates Universes Beyond. So you're already a threat, which is fine, because this deck's going to make you the threat. So you can pay 1, permanents your opponent's control is hexproof, indestructible, protection, shroud, and ward until end of turn. You can hit anything. It's like Shadow Spear, but on your commander. It's great. And then, while that's alright, it has whenever a creature an opponent controls becomes the target of spell or ability you control, you put a bounty counter on that creature. So targeting any opponent's creatures will put bounty counters on them. And then whenever a creature with a bounty counter on it dies, you put 2 1/1s on Mr. Cormac. AKA, you're going to play spells that are going to target your opponent's things, and then they're going to die, and your guy's going to get bigger. And the rest of the deck is just there to help you get value, and give them a little bit of protection, a little bit of evasion, and kill people with commander damage. Because who also just doesn't like commander damage, am I right? Alright, let's go through artifacts, which is a mix of mana rocks like Arcane Signet, as well as cards like Celestial Armor, which is protection. 3 mana, flash, equipment. When it enters, you attach to a creature. The creature gains hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. They also get +2/+0 and gain flying forever. So that's the actual equipment thing. But this is also a 3 mana, equip it to something to give it protection. Which, in white and black, there are better white cards for it, but yeah, whatever. It gives it flying, which is nice. We got Haystack, which is 2 and tap it to have a creature you control phase out. This is protection from board wipe, protection from removal, same thing. Hookblade, when it enters, you attach it to a creature. They get flying if it's your turn, and +1/+0. Alternatively, you could play Assassin's Blade, I think it's called, the one that gives it can't be blocked in like Ward 2. This is much cheaper, and it's also just evasion. Orzhov Signet is just a good signet. You can tap it, you can 1, and then just play your commander. It's nice. Soul Ring is Soul Ring. Swiftfoot Boots, giving things hexproof is really nice. Talisman of Hierarchy, just another mana rock. Trailblazer's Boots gives something non-basic land walk, so pretty much everybody in Commander plays non-basics, even monocolor decks at this point. So this will just help your guy hit. And then Whisper Silk Cloak can't be blocked and has Shroud, so it gives evasion, and it also does a little bit of defense because Shroud obviously means it can't be targeted, and you're not going to be targeting it with your own spells. I just want to make sure. Yeah, your opponent's control, so he wouldn't lose hexproof or Shroud or anything. One of the creatures, a lot of these creatures are just value things you get when you remove cards. So starting with Athreos, he's a god. Devotion to white and black is less than 7. He's not a creature, which is nice. At the beginning of your end step, you put a coin counter on another target creature, and when that creature dies or is put into exile, you return it under your control. So there are quite a few effects like that in this deck, because besides from just making your commander big, you want other ways to potentially win the game. And stealing everything that you kill, pretty good. Blood Artist is there for the drain. This is just a great value card. Deathbringer Liege is a little expensive, but white creatures and black creatures get +1/+1, so your commander would be getting +2/+2. Whenever you cast a white spell, you can tap a creature. Whenever you cast a black spell, you can destroy a tapped creature. So this is kind of removal, kind of make it big. It's an interesting card, because it also dictates how you play cards from your hands. Alenda, whenever anything dies, you put a 1/1 counter on it. And when she dies, you make X/1/1 white vampires with lifelink, where X is her power. A lot of things are dying when you're playing this deck, so it's just going to get big. It's another threat your opponents have to deal with, and can only be dealt through like bouncing or exiling. Giza, Glorious Resurrector. If a creature an opponent control would die, aka you kill it with whatever, you exile it, and then on your upkeep, all the creatures exiled with her effect go back on the battlefield under your control. They gain Decay, which means they can't block, and when they attack you, sack it. But it's just another way to accumulate more resources while killing things. Harvester of Souls, whenever non-token creature dies, you draw a card. You should draw a card. Kirvek has whenever you can commit crime, which is targeting an opponent. Anything they control and or cards in their graveyard is a crime. What you do is you pick a black card from your graveyard, you exile it, you copy it, you have to spend mana to cast it, but you can cast copy and lose 2 life, so you can double removal whenever you removal. This also works in an interesting way where if you have a bunch of black cards in your grave, you can have one in your hand, target something, you commit a crime, you do it again with a card in your grave. You just keep doing it from cards in your grave, recursively. You lose the cards forever after, but I mean, yeah. It's a way to get a lot of removal out in one turn. Killing the Ink Duelist, he's just lifelink menace, and spells you cast that target creatures cost 2 less. And good thing, removal targets creatures. Massacre Worm is another, similar to Blood Artist, it does a drain effect. It also has the -2/-2, which is nice on ETB. Morbid Opportunist is there to draw cards. Murderous Rider is a short target creature or planeswalker, and then you can also play it, so it's kind of an extra value card. It's not bad, I like it. Ravenous Chupacabra, when it enters, you destroy a creature. Pretty basic. Royal Assassin, tap it to destroy a tapped creature. This also works with Deathbringer Liege. And then Taste of Karlov, because when things die, your permanents get an additional trigger. This includes your commander. So you get 4 1/1 counters. It's pretty crazy. Under the enchantments, Black Market is nice because a lot of things are just going to die throughout the game. I think this card could probably be put in every black deck in Commander. It's just really solid, especially if you're playing slower games. Yeah, whenever a creature dies, you put a counter on it, and at the beginning of your first main, you add black equal to the amount of counters. So you're just gonna slowly accumulate more and more counters throughout the game and just generate a lot of mana. Feast of the Victorious Dead. At the beginning of your end step, if one more creature died this turn, you gain life equal. You gain that much life and distribute that many 1/1 counters among creatures you control. They're just there to make your commander bigger, heal you up a little bit. It's nice. Grave Betrayal, 7 mana. When a creature you don't control dies, return to the battlefield under your control with an additional 1/1 counter on it at the beginning of the next end step. It's a black zombie in addition to its other colors and types. So it's similar to Giza, and it's a theft effect. It's pretty good. Meathook Massacre, this is like a board wipe, and then also it's Drain with like Blood Artist. No, it's not. I'm thinking Meathook Massacre 1, I think. So whenever a creature you control dies, pay 3 life, you can return it under your control to finality counter. So if you want to return Shay Cormac without casting them again, essentially you can cast them every other time from your command zone, so it'll cost less throughout the game. And then whenever a creature opponent control dies, they pay 3 life. If they don't, you get the card. So it's more theft. On to the instants. Most of these are just me single target removal, and then most of the sorceries will be multi-target. So Afterlife, destroy a creature that can't be regenerated. You give them a 1/1 with flying. Who cares? Bitter Triumph is usually just pay 3 life in this deck, and then destroy a target creature planeswalker. Destroy an artifact or creature, you make a 2/2 white ox. Chain Assassination, destroy target creature. If another creature died this turn, draw a card, and you can cast it for 2, because you're going to be hitting it with your commander a lot. So 2 mana, kill something, draw a card. Good card. Curtain's Call, 6 mana. It costs 1 less to cast for each opponent, so it's quick math, 3 mana. Destroy 2 target creatures. Hey, that's just better. That's twice as good as Murder. Good card. Destroy Evil. You can either destroy something, a creature with toughness 4 or greater, or you can destroy an enchantment, which is nice. Dismember is just -5/-5 for 1 mana. Great card. Fracture, destroy an artifact, enchantment, or planeswalker. I do think enchantment and artifact removal are good. Mainly enchantments, at least in more casual pods. Artifacts aren't too crazy a lot of the time. Generous Gift, destroy a permanent. They make a 3/3, go for the throat, destroy an artifact. Hero Soundfall, destroy a creature planeswalker. I'm just realizing how much planeswalker hate there is in this. Destroy a creature, you lose 2 life. Fine. Ink Shield's one of those protection cards where after you draw a lot of ire later on in the game, you can just Ink Shield and make a shitload of 2/1s. And then you can win the game off of it if it's good enough. Good card. It's 5 mana destroy creature, but usually it'll destroy tapped creature. This also works with Deathbringer Liege. You cast a white spell to tap something, and then you target the tapped thing. I believe that's how that works. I'm not actually sure, but I would assume so. Either way, it also just kills anything that's tapped and people swing a bunch. Mortify, 3 mana destroy a creature or enchantment, which is nice. Murder is murder. Path to Exile. I mean, you're going to run the premium not kill, even though they don't work with Shay Cormac, because he requires things to die, not be exiled. You're still going to run Path. You're still going to run Swords just because they're the best removal cards in white. Repel Calamity is a straight target creature with power 4 or greater, which is nice for 2 mana. Seized from Slumber, costs 3 less if it targets a tapped creature, like Luminous Rebuke, destroy target creature. Strike at Midnight, destroy an online permanent, they make a 1/1. Swords is Swords. Tragic Slip is just another premium removal card. Unwanted Remake, you destroy a creature and then they manifest Dread, which who cares? In almost every deck, I think letting your opponent manifest Dread is fine. Valorous Stance, destroy a creature with toughness 4 or greater, or give something indestructible, so that's protection as well as removal. Withering Torment, you destroy a creature enchantment, lose 2 life. Great card. Onto the sorceries. This is just a board wipe. Come back wrong, you destroy something, and then you get possession of it at the next end step. Oh, return to the battlefield under your control, sacrifice it at the beginning of your next end step. So you could play this on your... No, you can play this on your opponent's turn. This might actually just be a bad card. Return it to the battlefield under your control. Yeah, okay. They don't get haste. This is a weird card. I'd maybe actually take this out. There's so much ores like black and white color removal you can just run. I think I put this in because I'm like, ooh, I steal something. I didn't realize. I mean, you could steal something that has like a good activated ability. I'm like processing this as I'm talking about it. Yeah, I'd maybe cut this card. Cut a deal, 3 mana, each opponent draws a card, then you draw a card for each opponent who drew a card this way. It's just card draw in white. It's cool. Your opponents draw cards too, but for every card your opponent draws, you draw a removal spell. Pretty good. Damn is either destroy a creature or just board wipe. Feed the Swarm is destroy target creature enchantment. You lose life equal to its power, or to its mana cost, which not bad. Fell is a 2 mana removal spell at sorcery speed. It's not horrible. Hexes destroy 6 creatures for 6 mana. I think that's pretty good. Rise of the Dark Realms is one of your big finishers in the deck. You just put all creatures from the graveyard on the battlefield under your control. So you're going to be killing things a lot. Late on in the game, you can just drop this card, win the game off of it. It's a good card. Slash the ranks, destroy all creatures and planeswalkers, except for commanders. I love running this in a lot of commander decks where only your commander is really important. Like I run this in Chun-Li, for example. I think this is a good card. I think in some matchups it might not be as good of a card, but in this deck I think it's pretty good. Starfall Invocation, you can gift a card and then show creatures. If a gift is promised, you return a creature from your graveyard to the battlefield under your control. So this is kind of board wipe and then get something back, which is nice, especially for some of the bigger creatures in your deck. Vindicate is 3 mana destroy a permanent, which is nice, because sometimes people play fucked up lands, and you know, I think you should be running land destruction for that. On the land base though, Bojuka Bog, because graveyard decks. Caves of Koilos, Command Tower, Concealed Courtyard, Evolving Wilds, Isolated Chapel. Every dual land is just something that you hope can come in untapped in a scenario. Snarl, you reveal something. This comes in untapped. Temple of Silence is the Scry one exception, because being able to go through more of your deck is good. Terramorphic, and it's just kind of there because you run enough basics. Alright, on to the Rex. I don't actually have a maybe board for this deck. I didn't go through it, but I think like before Rex, anything I would add, or any cool way to play this is whenever a creature becomes a target, you put a bounty counter on that creature. There are a lot of cards that interact with bounty counters in some way, so having those would be useful. Like Bounty Board, you can tap for mana, or you can put a bounty counter on a creature, and then whenever a creature with a bounty counter on it dies, each of its controller's opponents draw a card and gain 2 life. So that's kind of opposite maybe what you want. Each of its opponents, controller's opponents, so the other 3 players. I don't think Sab is a bad card. I don't think it's great though. Put a bounty counter on a creature. Planeswalker, whenever a planeswalker creature an opponent controls with bounty counter on it dies, is dealt damage, destroy it. Not bad. Split second, choose any number of target creatures with equal toughness, destroy them. Avatar of Woe, I think it's pretty cool. Destroy a creature, it can't be regenerated. Unfortunately, it's 8 mana, so I don't know if I'd really play it. It's also 6/5. I guess there are 10 or more creature cards in all graveyards cost 6 less. Maybe not actually a bad card. Yeah, Brotherhood Regalia is the one I was talking about. Equip creature has Ward 2 if it's an assassin. It is an assassin, and it can't be blocked. It's a great card, but for $9, eh. Phyrexian Arena if you want more card draw. I think Lightning Greaves, those look sick. Those look so cool. Shadow Aether Drift. Maybe I'll talk about that. Caduceus is interesting if you have 30 or more life, then your equipped creature gets +5/+5 indestructible and prevent all damage that would be dealt to this creature. Although that's kind of what indestructible is. They also get lifelink, which is nice. Marry the Killing Quill. Whenever a creature in opponent control dies, exile it with a hit counter. Whenever a assassin, mercenary, rogue you control, they have Death Touch, and whenever this controller deals combat damage to a player, you may remove a hit counter from a card that player owns in exile. Draw a card, keep 2 treasures. It's not a bad card. BMC is obviously played, and you can play this in every black deck. Cut Down's a good card. Doomblade's a good card. Ghostly Prison's a good card, especially with the amount of aggro you pull. Same with Get Lost. There's so many great cards that you could play. Dawn's Truce is a really cool card. It's kind of like Heroic Intervention, but for white. Gift a card. You and permanents you control gain hexproof until end of turn. If the gift was promised, they also get indestructible. Yeah, good card. There's so many good cards. Dark Ritual's not even in the deck. Dispark's not in the deck. Although Dispark exiles, so not as good, obviously. Either way, that's it for the video. If there are any cards that you think I missed, let me know in the comments, because I always like learning new cards. And I mean, I've been playing this game for like a year, but there's still so much I don't know. Let me know if there's any commanders you want me to cover, because I do have a few in mind. I also just go to EDH Rec, I click random till I find a cool card, and I'm like, ooh, build a deck around this. But yeah, that's it. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.